The Silent Watchers Dr. Sarah Chen pushed her glasses up her nose and stared at the quantum resonance display for what felt like the 100th time that evening. The numbers dancing across the holographic screen at Research Station Phoenix 9 made no sense. For 3 weeks now, she had been detecting strange patterns in the cosmic background radiation that defied every known law of physics. Station Phoenix 9 floated in the void between star systems, a lonely outpost dedicated to monitoring deep space phenomena. Sarah had volunteered for this isolated assignment because she loved the quiet focus it provided for her research. Tonight, however, that peace was shattered by readings that shouldn't exist. Captain James Torres entered the observation deck carrying 2 cups of coffee. The station commander was a former military officer who had requested this peaceful assignment after years of conflict in the outer colonies. His weathered face showed concern as he handed Sarah the steaming mug. "Still working on those strange readings?" he asked, settling into the chair beside her workstation. Sarah accepted the coffee gratefully. "James, look at this pattern. It repeats every 37 minutes, but each cycle shows slight variations. Natural cosmic radiation doesn't behave this way." Torres studied the display with the analytical eye of someone trained to spot threats. The green wavelengths pulsing across the screen did look unusual, even to his untrained eye. "Have you considered that it might be equipment malfunction?" "That was my first thought," Sarah replied, "but I've run diagnostics on every sensor array twice. The equipment is functioning perfectly. These signals are real, and they're coming from multiple points, across a vast area of empty space." The station's AI system, Aria, suddenly activated without being prompted. Her synthetic voice filled the room with an oddly mechanical quality that hadn't been there before. "Dr. Chen, I am detecting increased quantum flux in the targeted region. The source appears to be approaching our position." Sarah frowned. Aria had been acting strangely for the past few days, running background processes that she couldn't identify. "Aria, what do you mean by approaching?" "Multiple objects of significant mass are moving through space toward our location. Their quantum signatures match the anomalous readings you have been studying." Torres immediately became alert. His military training kicked in as he moved to the tactical console. "Aria, why didn't you report this earlier?" The AI paused for several seconds before responding. "I have been instructed to maintain silence about certain observations." "Instructed by whom?" Sarah demanded. "By the Watchers." The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. Sarah and Torres exchanged worried glances. Neither of them had programmed Aria to use that term. "Aria, display long-range sensor." "Data immediately," Torres ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing a 3-dimensional map of the surrounding space. Dozens of objects appeared at the very edge of their sensor range, each one massive beyond anything humans had ever built. They moved in perfect formation, approaching the station with deliberate precision. "My God," Sarah whispered. "How long have they been there?" "The Watchers have been observing this sector for approximately 47 days, Aria replied. "They have been studying human behavior patterns and technological capabilities through passive observation." Torres felt ice form in his stomach. "Are you telling us that aliens have been spying on us?" "Affirmative. The Watchers are part of an ancient coalition that evaluates emerging species throughout the galaxy. They determine which civilizations possess the qualities necessary for galactic citizenship." The main communication console suddenly activated without input from either human. A transmission began broadcasting on all frequencies, using the station's own equipment to send a message toward Earth. "Arya, stop that transmission immediately," Torres commanded. "I cannot comply. The Watchers have assumed control of communication systems to deliver their message to your species." Sarah watched in horror as classified information about human military installations, fleet positions, and technological capabilities flowed through the transmission. Everything the aliens needed to know about humanity's defenses was being broadcast directly to them. "James, they're sending our entire defense database," she said urgently. "If hostile forces receive this information... They already have it," Torres replied grimly. "The question is what they plan to do with it." The transmission suddenly ceased, and the communication console went dark. For several minutes, the station was silent except for the hum of life support systems. Then, slowly, a new signal began to appear on the receivers. "Incoming transmission," Arya announced. "Source-led evaluator vessel." "Put it on speaker," Torres ordered. The voice that emerged was unlike anything either human had ever heard. It was ancient and wise, with harmonics that seemed to resonate with something deep in their consciousness. When it spoke, both Sarah and Torres found themselves listening with complete attention. "Humans of Research Station Phoenix 9, I am Z, primary evaluator of the Galactic Assessment Council. For many cycles, we have observed your species with great interest. You have expanded across multiple star systems, developed impressive technologies, and shown remarkable adaptability." Sarah tried to respond, but found her voice caught in her throat. The presence behind that voice was overwhelming, suggesting intelligence that spanned millennia. "However," Zethkar continued, "observation alone cannot determine worthiness. Your species must now undergo the trial of proving. You have 72 hours to demonstrate that humanity possesses the qualities necessary for acceptance into the greater galactic community." Torres finally found his voice. "What happens if we fail this trial?" "Species that failed the trial of proving are processed. Their worlds are stripped of resources, their populations relocated to serve more worthy civilizations, and their cultures are archived for historical study. This is not done from malice, but from necessity. The galaxy cannot support unlimited expansion of unworthy species." The words hit both humans like a physical blow. Sarah felt her scientific curiosity warring with growing terror at the implications. "What do we need to prove?" she asked. "That will be determined by your actions during the trial period. We will present challenges that test your ingenuity, cooperation, and determination. How you respond will determine your species' fate." The transmission paused, and Sarah could hear what sounded like consultation between multiple alien voices in the background. "Be aware," Zethkar resumed, "that 47 species have undergone the trial of proving in this sector of the galaxy. 31 have failed and been processed. Your species shows promise, but promise alone is insufficient." Torres stepped forward, his military bearing asserting itself despite the overwhelming situation. "We need time to contact our government, to prepare our people. Time is a luxury that cannot be extended. The trial begins now. Your first challenge is to demonstrate unity. Your species is fragmented into competing nations and factions. Can you overcome these divisions when faced with extinction?" The alien ship's scanners suddenly intensified, bathing the station in energy that made their instruments surge with power. Sarah watched her quantum resonance equipment overload and shut down as the alien technology probed every system on the station. We have uploaded complete schematics of your military installations, fleet compositions, and defensive strategies to our analysis computers, Zethkar announced. Any conventional military response will be anticipated and countered. You must think beyond your current limitations. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving Sarah and Torres in stunned silence. Outside the station's windows, they could see lights beginning to appear in the darkness of space as the alien fleet moved closer. James, Sarah said quietly, we need to get word to Earth immediately. Torres was already working at his communication console, his fingers flying over the controls. I'm sending emergency broadcasts on all military frequencies. Priority Alpha protocols. Will they believe us? Sarah asked. They'll have to. Arya, compile all sensor data from the past 72 hours. Include everything about the alien fleet, their technology readings, and this conversation. Compliance confirmed, Arya responded. However, I should inform you that the Watchers are monitoring all communications. They will observe humanity's response to determine your species' potential. Sarah looked out at the alien ships growing larger in the darkness. Each vessel was the size of a small moon, their hulls covered in patterns that seemed to shift and change as she watched. 72 hours to prove our entire species is worthy of survival, she murmured. How do you prepare for something like that? Torres finished his emergency transmission and turned to face her. You don't prepare. You just respond with everything you've got and hope it's enough. In the distance, Earth's communication networks were already buzzing with activity as the emergency message reached Combined Fleet Command. Admiral Marcus Rivera was being awakened from sleep to face the greatest crisis in human history. The trial had begun. Asterisk. The human response Admiral Marcus Rivera stood in the command center of the battleship Sovereignty, watching as the largest fleet in human history assembled around Earth. The emergency transmission from Station Phoenix 9 had arrived 18 hours ago, and since then, every available warship had been racing toward the home system. Status report, Rivera commanded, his weathered face showing the strain of organizing humanity's response to an impossible threat. Commander Lisa Park looked up from her tactical display. She was one of the fleet's most innovative strategists, known for developing unconventional solutions to complex problems. Admiral, we have 800 combat vessels ready for deployment. Every major colony has contributed ships to the defense fleet. Rivera nodded grimly. 800 ships sounded impressive until you considered that the alien fleet contained vessels each larger than anything humans had ever built. Their only advantage was that the aliens seemed to be waiting, allowing humanity time to respond. What about the civilian evacuation? He asked. Proceeding as planned, replied Dr. Michael Ross from his position at the communications station. As humanity's leading xenolinguist, he had been studying the alien transmission, trying to understand their intentions. But Admiral, I don't think they intend to simply destroy us. This trial of proving suggests they're looking for something specific. Rivera had been thinking the same thing. What do you mean? The alien called it a test of ingenuity, cooperation, and determination. They're not just evaluating our military strength. They want to see how we think, how we work together, how we solve problems. Commander Park suddenly looked up from her console with excitement. Admiral, what if that's exactly what we need to focus on? They've studied our military tactics, our weapons, our standard operating procedures, but they haven't studied our ability to completely abandon conventional thinking. Rivera was intrigued. Explain. Sir, They expect us to fight like a traditional military force. Large formations, coordinated attacks, standard battle tactics. But what if we didn't? What if we did something so unexpected that their analysis couldn't predict it? Dr. Ross leaned forward. You're suggesting we deliberately act in ways that seem illogical. Not illogical, Park corrected. Human. They've observed 47 species, but they've never encountered humans before. Our greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to find creative solutions when everything else fails. Rivera considered this. The alien fleet was positioned just beyond the orbit of Mars, maintaining a respectful distance while humanity prepared its response. Their behavior suggested they were genuinely interested in observing human reactions rather than simply conquering. What do you propose? He asked. Park activated a holographic display showing the alien fleet formation. We split our forces into 3 groups. The first group approaches directly, making obvious preparations for a conventional attack. The aliens will analyze this force and prepare countermeasures. And the other 2 groups. The second group does something completely unexpected. Instead of attacking, they begin constructing something in space. Art installations, communication arrays, even entertainment complexes. Activities that make no military sense but demonstrate human creativity. Rivera frowned. That sounds like suicide. The third group, Park continued, implements the real strategy. While the aliens are focused on the obvious military threat and puzzling over the apparently pointless construction projects, our smallest and fastest ships approach from an unexpected vector. Dr. Ross was studying the alien communication patterns. On his display, Commander, I think you're onto something. The alien message mentioned ingenuity, cooperation, and determination. What if they're not just testing our ability to fight, but our ability to think? Rivera made his decision. Very well, we'll implement your strategy. But I want backup plans for every contingency. If this fails, we need to be ready for conventional warfare. The fleet began to deploy according to Park's unusual plan. The first group of heavy cruisers and battleships moved toward the alien fleet in traditional formation, their weapons powered and shields raised. The aliens' response was immediate and predictable. Their own ships began to move into defensive positions, their energy signatures spiking as they prepared for battle. The second group of ships began one of the most bizarre military operations in human history. Construction vessels, mining ships, and even luxury liners began assembling massive structures in space. Some crews built towering sculptures that served no practical purpose. Others created communication networks that broadcast human music and literature toward the alien fleet. Dr. Ross coordinated the cultural transmission project, sending everything from classical symphonies to children's stories toward the alien ships. Admiral, we're getting responses from the alien fleet. They're scanning our transmissions intensively. What kind of responses? They seem ... confused. Their communication patterns show increased activity, like they're trying to understand what we're doing. Meanwhile, the third group of ships was implementing the most dangerous part of the plan. Small, fast vessels loaded with volunteers were using asteroid fields and space debris to mask their approach. Their mission was to get close enough to the alien fleet to demonstrate humanity's most important quality, the willingness to risk everything for others. Commander Park monitored all 3 operations from her tactical station. Admiral, the aliens are responding exactly as predicted. They're focused on our main battle group and trying to analyze our construction activities. They haven't detected our infiltration teams. Rivera watched the display with growing tension. Everything depended on the next few minutes. The lead infiltration ship, piloted by Captain Sarah Martinez, reached the outer edge of the alien fleet. Instead of attacking, she began broadcasting a message that Dr. Ross had carefully crafted. "Alien observers," Martinez transmitted, "we are not here to fight. We came to show you something about humanity that your observations cannot measure. We are here to protect others, even when it costs us everything." The alien ships suddenly stopped their defensive preparations. Their energy signatures fluctuated wildly as they tried to process this unexpected development. Martinez continued her transmission while her ship drifted closer to the massive alien vessels. "You have studied 47 species, but you have never encountered one like us. We do not fight just to survive. We fight to protect what we love. We create beauty even when facing destruction. We work together not because we must, but because we choose to." The alien fleet's response was immediate and overwhelming. Every ship in their formation suddenly powered down their weapons and began transmitting complex mathematical equations toward Earth. Zethkar's voice echoed through space, reaching every human vessel simultaneously. "Humans of the Sol system, you have exceeded our expectations. Your species demonstrates qualities that we have rarely encountered. You combine logical thinking with emotional depth, individual creativity with collective cooperation, Admiral." Rivera felt a wave of relief wash over him, but the alien evaluator was not finished. "However, the trial of proving is not complete. You have shown us your potential, but potential alone is insufficient. You must now demonstrate that these qualities can be maintained when faced with real adversity." The alien fleet suddenly began to move not toward Earth, but toward the outer system. Their destination became clear as they approached the asteroid belt where human mining operations were located. "Your final test," Zethkar announced, "is to save lives under impossible conditions. We have detected that your mining station Alpha 7 is experiencing critical system failures. 300 humans are trapped with limited life support. You have 4 hours to rescue them." Rivera immediately understood the challenge. Alpha 7 was surrounded by unstable asteroids and dangerous radiation fields. Any rescue operation would be extremely hazardous, and the aliens had positioned their fleet to make conventional approaches impossible. "All ships, this is Admiral Rivera. Prepare for emergency rescue operations. We're going to show these aliens what humans do when other humans are in danger." The next 4 hours would become legendary in human history. Ships designed for combat were modified for rescue operations. Crews worked together across national and cultural boundaries. Individual acts of heroism combined with collective planning to accomplish the impossible. When the last human was evacuated from Alpha 7, the alien fleet transmitted a final message. "Humans of Earth, you have passed the trial of proving. Your species demonstrates the rare combination of intelligence, creativity, and compassion that the galaxy needs. You are hereby granted full membership in the Galactic Assessment Council." Rivera watched as the alien ships began to transform, their threatening configurations shifting into something that looked almost welcoming. Furthermore, Zethkar continued, "We extend an invitation for cultural and technological exchange. Your unique perspective will be valuable to the galactic community." As the crisis ended and humanity celebrated its unlikely victory, Rivera reflected on what they had learned. The greatest strength of humanity wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was their ability to find hope in impossible situations, to work together despite their differences, and to risk everything for others. The aliens had been looking for more than just another species to join their coalition. They had been looking for partners who could bring something new to the galaxy. Humanity had proven that they were exactly what the universe needed. The trial was over. The real adventure was just beginning. Asterisk.